Good morning, Villa fans, and welcome to a match preview for the FA Cup semi-final. You can see from this picture over here, Crystal Palace against Aston Villa tomorrow, 5:15 at Wembley. A chance to get into the FA Cup final and actually win a trophy for Villa. It would be amazing. Last time we were in a cup final was a few years ago. I think we played Man City. I think Mateta got a goal in that game. That was a Carabao Cup. But this is the FA Cup, and we really want to put our name on a trophy. It's been so long, hasn't it? 1996, I think, the last one. And that was, Savo Milosevic and Ian Taylor and Dwight York scoring in that one. And then beating Man United a couple of years before that as well in 94. But yeah, it's been a long time coming. And this feels like the best opportunity that Villa will get, we've had in a long time and perhaps we'll have in a long time, considering it's only Man City that are really left in the competition. I mean, by this stage, you've got the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal still in the competition, and they're not. So you feel as though Crystal Palace standing in our way to get to a cup final and possibly winning a trophy. This is our time, basically. We haven't had a great record against Palace recently. Glasner's had our number, Unai Emery's number of the last few meetings, but we went out to them in the Carabao Cup earlier in the season as well. I don't want to be knocked out by them in the semi-final of an FA Cup as well. It'll be the first time that would happen, that one team could knock Villa out of both cup competitions since 1968. And it was Tottenham Hotspur then. Just a little stat for you there. I wasn't alive then. I wasn't at that game. But yeah, so 1968 is when it happened last, and I don't want it to happen again here. So yeah, we've got a big game coming up. I want us to take the game to Palace. If we look at the last couple of meetings that we've had with them, we met them 3 times already this season. We've drawn with them. So first of all, we lost to them in the Carabao Cup 2-1. Much changed team from Villa. They get an early goal through. I think it was Eze, and then we equalised through Duran, and then Kamada scores from range, and it was really like a horrible performance. Villa really didn't get anything together in that game and weren't playing well. The second meeting with them was a 2-2 draw at Villa Park, where we were trailing and again playing horribly, and I had to rely on sort of a Ross Barkley glancing header from a corner in the 77th minute to rescue a point for us. And again, it wasn't a great performance. Palace seemed to play in a way that we struggled to contain them. And I'll come on to a couple of their sort of players as well. And then the most recent meeting, I mean, you can kind of mark this as null and void, really, because it was a 4-1 defeat, yes. But we changed our formation to kind of match up with them and went to a 3 at the back. And I said at the time, whatever that was, put it in the bin. Never want to see 3 at the back again. And I'm sure that Unai is not looking at changing formation for this semi-final again. And it was, we had like Leon Bailey playing at like wing back or something in that game. It was ridiculous. So I don't want to see that at all. But Palace are very dangerous. We know a lot about them. We've met them 3 times already. Haven't managed to beat them this season. This will be the 4th time, obviously. Their strengths are that they have a very set way of playing. I mean, they play the 3 at the back, and they play it very well. And they've been schooled in that way for quite a long time. I think even before Glasner came in, they were sort of playing 3 at the back with wing backs. And their wing backs are very, very impressive. I mean, this Daniel Munoz at right wing back, up and down. I think he's in most fantasy Premier League teams. He's certainly in mine. And he's a threat up and down that flank. Great energy, great ability, calmness on the ball, scores a few goals, assists a few goals. He is the modern day wing back. I'm not sure how he would do in a flat back 4, but he is someone who loves to get forward and has that license too, because they have that 3 at the back. And the 3 at the back that they have, the centre backs, are all very athletic, all very big, strong, physical, imposing units. They've got Gahey, Lacroix, I think is how you say it, and Chris Richards, the American centre back as well. They've all got height, physicality on their side, and they've also got good sort of, turn of pace as well. So, if the centre-backs do get dragged into a wide position, they're able to cope with that. They're not sort of, slow and things like that. They're able to be athletic and get to the bylines and sort of close down wingers as well. And then left-back, it's Tyreek Mitchell, who almost scored at Villa Park as well. I remember, was it Villa Park or Selhurst Park in the 4-1 game? Came close in that. But he's, again, another tireless runner up and down that left-hand side. Maybe not as aggressive as Munoz is on the right, but certainly can provide a really good outlet for them as a left back. And then the midfield battle is going to be so interesting. And I'll come on to my lineup in a moment about what I think Villa should be doing and how we're going to win this game and what team that we definitely need to play. And any deviation of that lineup is going to not really work out. And I'll come on to my reasonings why. But then midfield too, Adam Wharton, who's coming back from injury, back into form, getting a lot of recognition. England call up as well. Will Hughes alongside him, the experienced head, the calmness there as well. But Wharton is the one who starts off a lot of their plays. And what I like about Adam Wharton is that he plays football, with like one or two touch. He doesn't really hold on to the ball too much. He sees the picture very early, which is something that if you can do and you can you can learn that from an early age, that's going to put you in a hell of a position on the football pitch. See those opportunities early, and he's very good at that. He's scanning the pitch all the time. That's the one brilliant thing about him, and also his ability on the ball is very good too. So he's going to be someone that we need to close down, and we don't give a lot of time to on the ball. And again, this will be reflected in my predicted lineup about what we should do to counter sort of Adam Wharton. And then ahead of that, obviously we all know about Eze, fantastic player. I had him on trial at Reading when I was a scout there many, many years ago when he was about 14 or 15. Decided not to sign him for some reason. And funny enough, Matty Cash played in that same trial match as well. And they both played midfield. But anyway, Eze, fantastic player. They've just come off a 2-2 draw with Arsenal and played well from what I hear. Eze is always a threat. Great player on the ball. Calmness, can go past people, can trick players, can drop a shoulder. He's got a good shot from range. He gets into the box. He's just a guy who pulls all the strings for them. And he is someone, again, that we need to get close with. The Wembley pitch, they always say it's a big pitch. I'm sure these are pretty all similar sizes. In fact, I listened to Luke Robinson, the Villains podcast this morning as well, and he gave the facts of the size of the pitch. And Wembley is a couple of yards wider than Villa Park and also of Selhurst Park. I think about 4 yards wider of Selhurst Park and about 2 yards wider of Villa Park. But it's not, it's not like 10 yards wider and, all the myth about it being a massive pitch. Maybe it's the camera angle. Maybe it's because of where the seating is. But yeah, they're not massive. It's about 4 yards bigger than Selhurst Park. So you will have a bit more space, but not as much as everyone thinks there will be. So they've got Eze, and then they've got the danger man for them, who's going to be Eze and Sarr, who has this unbelievable record against Aston Villa. Every time that he's played against Aston Villa, he has scored, whether it's been for Crystal Palace or Watford. Every game that he has played against Aston Villa, he has scored. It's a frightening stat. He scored 2 goals in our last meeting in the 4-1 defeat as well. He picks up pockets of space. He can drift out wide, but then you've got Munoz playing high and wide on the right-hand side, so he can tuck in as well. And what Mateta does really well for them up top is that he's a focal point, but he's not afraid to drop in deep, come to sort of halfway to pick up the ball, hold up the ball, and then you've got Sarr and Eze, Munoz and Mitchell, who, that's almost like the trigger, that they just go and flood the box if Mateta is coming a bit deeper, because he sort of lays the ball back into Wharton. Wharton, as I said, first time passes out to 4 or 5 options going forward ahead of him. So that's going to be where we need to be at our best and switched on, is that, okay, if Mateta does drop deep, does the centre-backs go with him? Or is that Boubacar Kamara? Who needs to pick him up when he does drop deep? Because that's the threat, because the runners in behind are going to be the danger, especially Munoz, especially Mitchell, Eze as well, picking up those pockets. And on a bigger pitch, a little bit more space, he's going to be threatening. And Eze and Sarr has pace to burn as well. And again, the lineup that I want to go with will reflect that we need to match them up kind of with our pace as well. So, yeah, just talking about that as well. The Villa lineup that I want to see that will win this semi-final, I believe, is the following. So Robin Olsen, Emi Martinez in goal, obviously. We know Martinez came in for a little bit of stick for the Man City first goal and a couple of errors in previous games as well leading up to this, but he's our Emi. He's made countless great saves for us, kept us in games and when we were struggling. So absolutely no chance of Emi not playing. So Emi Martinez in goal. Right back, I think we're going to go with the back four. I don't think Emery's going to sort of match them up and play three at the back. If he does, God help us. But yeah, so right back for me, Matty Cash. I don't think it's a game for Andres Garcia to play at Wembley. Matty Cash, I think, is the man to play there. I don't think Disasi can come in at right back after what we've seen of him. I think he needs to just be on the bench. So Matty Cash, right back, picks himself. Left back for me, it's got to be Ian Maatsen. And the reason for that is the pace aspect. You know, you're going to have Munoz and Sarr on that side running at you. You don't want them overloading Lucadinho. Lucadinho is very good, but for me, I think we need Maatsen's pace and also his ability to defend one-on-ones is getting better, and also his ability to get forward as well. And I'll come on to who I think should play on the left-hand side of the attack as well, and it could link up quite nicely. But I think the match is going to be won on that sort of left-hand side. You know, the duels for Maatsen up against Munoz and Sarr, and also the other Villa player that I'll mention in a moment, that's going to play on that left-hand side. I think that's going to be pivotal to this game. That's where most of the action, I believe, is going to come down. So I'd go with Ian Maatsen at left back to, you know, counter the pace of Munoz and Sarr and not Dino. Centre back wise, Konsa picks himself at the moment. And then alongside him, you know, you've got an argument there of Pau Torres, who played against Man City, who's a very good ball playing centre back, bigger pitch. Can he, you know, put passes through the lines and things like that? He could be very useful. But I think we're playing up against Jean-Philippe Mateta, a very physical, bulldozing type striker, you know, who's going to be backing in, who's going to be physical, who's going to be using, you know, his physique. And I think we need someone that can match that. And obviously that then is Tyrone Mings. You know, if you're asking for a centre back to match up physically with Mateta, there's no one better than, well, maybe Virgil van Dijk. But you've got Tyrone Mings that can do that job. So I think for that point of view and the leadership aspect, Mings has played at Wembley before as well. I just think I think Tyrone Mings will hopefully get the nod at left centre back for this one. And then in front of that, you know, Boubacar Kamara definitely sort of sitting into that midfield position. And then alongside him, you know, you've got a Tielemans or a Nana. But I just think given the bigger pitch and the way that we want to play, I think Tielemans has to play. I think a Nana from the bench and maybe to change it up like he did against Newcastle when he came on. He did very well. I think Onana from the bench. So Kamara and Tielemans as the two. And then ahead of that, and this is where it's very, very important. I mean, I'd like to say I want Kamara to kind of do a man-to-man marking job on Eze perhaps, or maybe even Ismaila Sarr, because I think Tielemans maybe on Eze perhaps. One of the two needs to be man marked, basically, definitely for sure. I think maybe picking up Eze. So Kamara man marking Eze, Tielemans sort of picking up Sarr when he sort of plays that inverted sort of right hand side a little bit, and then, you know, ahead of this on the left hand side, on the right hand side. Let's start with this. We'll go with Morgan Rogers on the right, but I want him tucked in, so not playing, you know, high and wide on the right, not as a winger, but tucked in the 10. I'm going to go John McGinn, and I want John McGinn to be the one who's pressing Adam Wharton. So, you know, buzzing around him as soon as Wharton gets anywhere near the ball, I want McGinn on his toes. And then on the left-hand side, I want to see Marcus Rashford as our outlet, as our winger, as our wide option. Him and Maatsen up against Munoz and Sarr. And if you play Rashford out on the left, you're hopefully going to be pinning back Munoz, who might have second thoughts about sort of getting forward and leaving Rashford, leaving Rashford up the pitch perhaps. Or I'm expecting Rashford to put a hell of an effort in as well defensively, so getting back and tracking Munoz. But at the same time, I want to see someone who can have the ability to go past players, especially on that big Wembley pitch. Rashford's been there many a time. I think Rashford has to play from the left. Obviously, that means that you're dropping Jacob Ramsey. I don't want to see a narrow three. I don't want to see Ramsey, Rogers, McGinn, or even Asensio in there as a narrow three, because I think what you're doing there is that you're just saying to Palace, right, play it to Munoz, play it to Sarr, play the ball out wide, which is basically Palace's strength. You're asking them to play the way they want. You're inviting that sort of pressure on. So I want us to kind of make the pitch big, wide, one against one battles all around the pitch. And I don't want to see this tucked in midfield. I think Asensio from the bench, for this one. I think he could definitely make a difference with tiring legs, coming on, exploiting the spaces and the gaps and things like that. He could be a game changer for us. Onana coming on perhaps later on in the second half as well to shop a little bit, hopefully at that point, add a bit more physicality if we need it defensively from set pieces, be an option there as well, all this sort of stuff. So I want us to be on the front foot. I want us to go in winning, maybe at half time, on the hour mark perhaps, and then maybe we can look to kind of change things around and then see what the pitch is saying. And obviously up front, if you're playing Rashford from the left, you've got to be recalling Ollie Watkins. We saw a really pissed off Ollie Watkins against Southampton, and scoring a really good goal and putting in a great performance. We saw another really, really good performance against Newcastle, scoring after 33 seconds. Could have had a couple of more goals as well. I think if he is not playing in this game, if he's not starting this game and Rashford does up front, I think that speaks absolute volumes to where Ollie Watkins is going to be next season. I think he has to start. He didn't start against City. He only got last 15 minutes, hardly a chance or kick really. I think he has to start at Wembley. Again, another player who's played at Wembley a few times as well. That can't be overlooked. People who have Wembley playing experience. I think Daniel Marlon could be a good option off the bench as well later on in the game to stretch the game if we need to. Maybe you can take off a Marcus Rashford, put Marlon on and move Rodgers out to the left or McGinn out to the left, or even bring on Ramsey at that point, whatever it might be. But the starting lineup for me has to go with Rashford on the left, Watkins up front, Rodgers tucked in from the right, not playing high and wide, but tucked in, playing closer to like McGinn, basically. And then, because we've got Matty Cash playing right back anyway. Matty Cash is not the best getting forward, but he's good. He's kind of better defensively, especially on those one-on-one duels. And him marking Tyreek Mitchell, and if, Eze drops out there as well, fine, he can sort of pick him up. But I think Matty Cash just sitting back in this game, hanging back a little bit, offering a little bit of support, getting forward when we can, obviously. But, I think if you have Maatsen from the left and Rashford from the left, that is going to be where our danger is going to be. So that, for me, is what kind of needs to happen. And if he's playing, if I see Ramsey's names on the team sheet with the likes of McGinn and Rodgers is supposed to be the wide player, that's not going to work. We're not seeing the best of Morgan Rodgers playing, high and wide on the right-hand side. Let's get some width. Let's put Rashford on the left where he was doing very well on this big pitch. Let's get him running at Munoz. Let's pin that guy back. Let's get him worrying the centre-backs. And also Rashford's name as well. Just having his name on the team sheet will scare Crystal Palace. And I think we just need this. I think everyone's kind of hopefully well rested. The next game is obviously next Saturday against Fulham, so we've got a whole kind of week to prepare for that one. So there's no like midweek game and all that sort of stuff going on this time round. So we've got a really, really good chance of winning this game, getting to the cup final. And can you imagine that, having the cup final date in your mind, stamped in your mind, going into the last 4 games of the Premier League season? That would be a massive, massive confidence boost if we can secure a Wembley Cup final at the end of the season. And then we can just get on with our business with those 4 games to go, hopefully get 12 points and secure Champions League football for next season. That's what you want. If we lose this semi-final to Crystal Palace tomorrow, then how is the players going to react to the last 4 games to get to the Champions League? Is it going to become, moping around, a little bit of heads down, disappointment? I'm sure as a fan base, we would be disappointed to lose to Crystal Palace in a semi-final at Wembley. How would the players feel about that? And how would that motivate them for the remaining 4 games of the season? So I think winning tomorrow is crucial, not just for the cup run, but also the finishing off for the league and those last 4 games to secure Champions League spaces as well. So that's my 20 minutes basically about the game tomorrow. I'm very much I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be watching it from home. Unfortunately, couldn't get a ticket. It was sold out before I even had a chance to. But yeah, if you're asking me for a score prediction on this one as well, obviously, I'm sure most of you are predicting a Villa win, and I'm going to go the same, but I'm going to say it's going to be a very, very tight game. I'm going to go Crystal Palace 2, Aston Villa 3, just about, and maybe even after extra time or something. But I think it's going to be a very, very tight game. But I think our subs are going to be the difference makers as well. I think Asensio off that bench, Marlon off that bench, Onana off that bench. These are players who are really going to change the game for us, maybe late in the game. But we need to make sure that we mark Ismail Sarr. Tell you now, he's going to score. Clip it up. He'll get another goal. I think he'll get on the score sheet for them. I think Mateta might get a goal for them. But we need to make sure that we are on the front foot in this game. I don't want to see a City type performance where we was sitting back and respecting them too much. It's Crystal Palace. We need to be front foot. We need to be aggressive. I want to see that team lineup. I want to see Rashford on the pitch on the left. I want to see Watkins up front. That's exactly what I want to see. And I want to see Maatsen at left back. I just think we need his pace and his attacking output as well on that left-hand side. Luca Dino is very good, and he can give you an option from the bench. Again, hopefully by that time, if we need to shut up shop. But let's go into this game. Let's be aggressive. Let's be positive. Let's be the ones who are the protagonists, as Emery likes to call it in his press conferences. Well, guys, until the next one, hopefully we are celebrating a victory and a Wembley Cup final. I'll be back at you tomorrow with an instant match reaction. Until then, drop a like, subscribe, comment, give me your team lineups. What do you want to see? Am I talking rubbish? Does that make sense? What I'm kind of suggesting. What are your predictions for the game? Are you going to the game? Let me know if you're going, how you're getting down there, and what your plans are, and all that sort of stuff. And it'd be nice to sort of hear some interaction from you guys. But until the next video, guys, which will be tomorrow, instant match reaction. Hopefully Villa are through to the cup final and we can get the Champions League spot wrapped up as well. But until then, guys and girls, enjoy your Friday. Bye for now.